Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to TCC's 2020 Virtual Pride Week.
Hey.
You're here with the production team of Analysis Paralysis for the Q&A, and we're glad to have you. Thanks for watching the film, and thanks for hanging out with us for a little while.
Yes.
I am Jason T. Gaffney, one of the co-writers, one of the producers, the director, and one of the actors in Analysis Paralysis. You can find me on Instagram at Jason T. Gaffney or Twitter at Jason T. Gaffney. And Facebook, just Google Jason T. Gaffney and you'll find me.
And I'm Matt Gorlick. I'm also one of the producers on Analysis Paralysis. You can find me on Instagram at Matty Pants Photos, MATTYPANTS Photos.
And I'm Ed Gaffney, also one of the co-writers, and I also helped on set. I was the assistant director and psychological coach.
Indeed.
And you can find me on Twitter at EdGaffney2.
And for those of you out there that don't know, Ed Gaffney is my dad, and Matt Gorlick is my husband.
What? And you may notice that we're all wearing green in celebration of the colors of the Rainbow social media campaign. So you could take a selfie of yourself wearing green, hashtag TCC 2020 Pride Week. And you could tag at CT Pride Center, and you may win a chance to win a TCC rainbow shirt.
Yes.
So go green.
Do it.
Shirts. All right, shall we jump into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm ready. I'm going to be asking some questions, and we'll see what the guys come up with. So let's start with the idea to write Analysis Paralysis. Where'd that come from, Jace?
Well, I have been in the industry for a very long time. I started acting when I was 6. And over the years, I learned that I not only enjoy being an actor, but I also enjoy storytelling in general. And one thing led to another, and then I stumbled into film. And so I was talking to my dad one day, and we were trying to come up with a concept for a film that would be simple to film, because independent movie making is still expensive, even though we're not spending anywhere close to what Hollywood spends. And part of that is locations and all of those kind of like, and the cast, all these little things that you don't think about, they add up. But you also don't want to compromise the story and have it be boring. And so my dad and I were talking, and he suggested we kind of check out the idea of like, something to do with like analysis paralysis. He talked about a family friend who got stuck when he was making business decisions, that he was nervous he'd making the right decision. And so one thing led to another. We decided, let's make a story where there's a character who everyday life is that. Just every step of the way, he gets nervous and has to imagine all the scenarios. And so that's kind of where the origin came from.
And the you know, as Jace describes it, when we were thinking about this, we were trying to come up with a story idea that would be entertaining and fun and visual, but that was we could film economically. And when you've got a character who is constantly questioning whether he's going to make the right decision or not, he's playing in his mind over and over the same scenario and seeing how this might go wrong and how that might go wrong. And so when you're filming, if you're in the same location, you save a lot of time in the day's shoot.
Sure.
So we could do an awful lot of work and get a lot of scenes done without actually changing a lot of the location and the set decoration and so it really worked out. I mean, take the concept and just add Jason and Kevin Held, and things got pretty funny pretty fast. It was really a delightful process to watch unfold as these guys sort of took these scenarios and just ran with them in the funniest places you could imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, Jace, what was it like writing with your dad?
Asked by.
Was it good?
There is a right answer.
So I actually think we work really well as a team. this was not our first venture writing together, but it was the first kind of, it was one of the bigger first projects before we dove into doing the novellas and stuff. And the way that we kind of write is that I'll write a draft, I'll throw it at my dad, and then he'll take a pass at it and send it back. And so we kind of have this round robin going of like, oh my goodness, I'm writing scene 5 and he's tweaking scene 4, and then I'm sending him scene 5 as I'm going back and looking at scene 4 again and saying yes or nay or yay or boo or whatever. And we actually pick up the pace when we get towards the end of writing, because the first act of the script is often a little bit bumpy because we're still kind of feeling out who the characters are. But once certain discoveries are made, it's easier in the first few passes to write the characters with the same voice as draft 5 from the beginning. And so it's actually a really fun and kind of crazy experience, I'd say.
Your check will be coming shortly. By the way, a couple of things on that. Jason is, I'm not an actor, and anybody who has ever seen me near the wrong end of a camera can attest to that. But Jason is, and when you have the opportunity to write with an actor, it is amazingly enriching, and it's so rewarding because, and it's so efficient, because Jace, he sees the script not just as a writer, he sees the script as an actor. So he knows how it's going to come out of his mouth. He knows how it's going to sound. He knows what it's going to look like. And so it's really, really a tremendous asset, especially with somebody with Jason's comic instincts and his chops, to be able to go back and forth with, comedic bits or concepts, because things get ironed out very quickly in the writing process, which saves a lot of time on set. We're not solving a lot of problems on set. What we're doing is we're having a ball. We're letting Jason and Kevin go mad with the work that has already been done. The groundwork is laid, and it's just let these two maniacs do their thing, and it's really good. It really comes out well. It's a delight as a writer to be to have that as an asset. So anyway, so you can send me some money now, Jason.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Well, I know Jason will say, I've got an idea. I want to run this idea by you, and it's roughly formed, but he's got the basic concept there. And then I'll go in the other room. He'll get on the phone. 5 minutes later, I'll come back, and he's like, "Okay, we've got a 100-page script written." And it's just that's how it comes across to me. Just the way these two work together, it's pretty remarkable.
My favorite thing though is because we understand each other's sense of humor. What's really fun is if I write a funny scene, or what I perceive to be a funny scene, and I send it to my dad, and he takes a pass and he sees what I'm going for, and he elevates the humor, which then opens the door for every now and then for me to elevate it the next step. So there are times when we can really ramp up the comedy, so that by the time we get to set, we've already done all the hard work of figuring out what is the funniest option.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then comes the real, this is just a delight for me as a writer to watch, we end up writing something that we know is funny, the lines are good, the setup is good, and then it's better. When it's produced, when it's actually executed, it actually is funnier than you thought it was in the first place. Oh man, that is so good. That is so good. All right, we're having a ball talking here, but we're taking way too much time. We got to get right to the sex scenes. Jace, I guess this is a question for both Jace and Matt. I'd like you guys to tell me what it was like. I'm on set, so Dad's on set, right? Dad's behind the camera. Jason's butt naked, right, with Kevin, and doing the sex scenes that you guys have all seen. What was that like for you guys? Jace, you're the actor, you're the writer. Matt, you are the husband and the producer. You're right there. How's that? And then there's me, wandering around behind the camera, watching everything. How'd that go?
Well, I can tell you from my point of view, it is the least sexy experience you'll ever experience. It's cold on set, even with the lights. And then you're wearing these pouches that are called modesty pouches that are basically socks with a drawstring. So nothing doesn't feel great. It doesn't look great. Nobody's happy about that. And then there's the added bonus of, in this particular case, while we're mid-filming, having Naisha and the other camera operator giving us directions of like, oh, move your right elbow back an inch. And it's like, oh, well, let me get my ruler out. And I mean, it makes sense. They're seeing what we can't see. And so they did such a good job of directing us. But at the same time, there is a little bit of a struggle bus when you've got Naisha and my dad. Naisha was our cinematographer, screaming like, "This is beautiful! You guys look great!" And it's good. It's encouraging because you then feel good. You're like, "Oh, I look beautiful." But when you're in the moment trying to have like an intimate scene with another person, you're having to be in the zone because it's not normal. You've got a sound guy in the corner facing away to give you privacy, but holding the boom over his shoulder. And so it's like there's a weird man in the corner.
Little Blair Witch action in the middle of the sex scene.
So it's just funny to me because so many people have said to me personally, they're like, wow, that scene seemed really romantic and the chemistry was really there. And I'm like, thank you. Because in the moment I was thinking, well, did that, who knows?
Yeah. I remember when we first met, because this was a question that I got a lot, at festivals and screenings. What was it like to watch your husband make love with someone else, on set and on screen? And one of our first dates many years ago when we met, he's like, I'm an actor, I kiss other people, it's not personal. and I was like, I'm Matt, nice to meet you. But basically from the beginning we had this conversation because as an actor there are those moments, and it's one thing to hear it's not personal, it's not romantic, it's work. It's another thing to actually be on set and see that what Jason said, that something that you all, as you watched, hopefully thought was pretty damn romantic. And what I'm seeing is, well, first of all, I'm not seeing anything because the set is very contained, but what we're seeing on the monitor and on the edits is not romantic at all. So.
Well, what was great was, I'm really grateful that I got to work with Kevin on this because he's a close friend of ours. And so there was a sense of like comfort knowing that the other person, like there's a history there. And it was like really easy for each of us to be like, oh, I don't like that. Can we not do that? Or like, and having a safe word, and just the set felt really safe. It was closed. The room was closed. We were a skeleton crew for this, so there weren't that many crew members to begin with. But unless you were a necessary crew member, you weren't in the room. So it was a really respectful set, and it felt very professional.
Well, and I would say just a testament to the editing and the music, the score and all, and the lighting and the cinematography. That's what turns something that in the moment is move your elbow into something that is really beautiful and romantic. So good job to everyone on set and the crew and post-production.
The camera department nailed it. Everybody involved in the moment, I think, did a really good job. But the camera department, they were, and it guided also by my dad's like saying, "Oh, go to do this," or Jason, your face looks constipated. Don't do that. Like,
well, let's turn it over to Dad to see what it's like being on set directing your son in a love scene.
Well, I have to say it was. First of all, Jason, as a director, is really, really well prepared. He comes to set and knows really in advance what he wants. So my job is not so much to create, visual images as much as to oversee the visual images that Jason has already created and wants to. I'm just wanting to make sure that they're executing what he already has kind of come up with. But in that vein, as you said, it tends to be extremely clinical. You know, like I know what we want to see as movie viewers. You know, I know how beautiful the human body can be, and I know how awkward people can look when their elbow is in the wrong place, or their face is twisted or whatever. So that's kind of my job as the cop, as the the bad face making cop. But I do want to come back at sort of amplify something that both Matt and Jace talked about here, and that is the contributions that everybody makes on these kinds of films. And in this particular moment, I can talk to you about two specific things that I just thought they came together so beautifully in the love scene sort of sequence. So the people that are, let me just check with you guys, the people that are seeing this video have seen the movie, right?
Yes.
I'm not giving away anything. Okay, good. So we're going to talk about Danny Boy for just a second, because in the moment, Jason wrote that Kevin's character grabs him and starts to sing, but he didn't specify what he sang. And because we have a budget of this much, we couldn't pay anybody for the rights to any song. So Kevin knows he's going to have to sing something, but we don't know what he's going to be singing. So he comes to me, and we're looking up on the computer what is in the public realm, what's in the public, what can we get, what can we allow him to sing that we don't have to pay for. And we're talking about Bicycle Built for Two and Green Sleeves and, Anchors Away. And then we get to Danny Boy, and he goes, Danny Boy, that's the one. That is the one. And he was so right. He was so right. Okay, now fast forward to editing, right? Kevin's doing this thing, and our editor, Jack Gravina, is looking at this thing, and he sees this scene, and he can't believe how funny it is, and immediately says, I need a chorus. I need a male chorus singing Danny Boy. It's going to come in right after that. And it's going to be beautiful. And I'm listening to Jack talk about this, and I'm thinking, you're a really good editor, and I really love you, and you are completely wrong. That is going to be a disaster. And he was totally right. And it just elevates the whole thing. It's just such a wonderful example of all of the contributions that get made to create this scene. Jason's and my writing, Jason's, kind of concept for how this comedic moment would show up, Kevin's choice of the song and execution of the song, Jason's reaction to the song, which is amazing, and then Jack's, kind of gathering it all together and putting that beautiful choral moment behind, which starts out as really funny and ends up being really sweet, which is almost like a kind of microcosm of the whole movie for me. I think this movie is really, really funny, but it ends up really, really sweet. I love it. I love it. Looking at the time, and I want to get to another question here. I want you guys to talk about your next projects, because I'd love for people to know how crazy committed you guys are to churning this stuff out, and how exciting it is for you to for me to watch, what you guys are doing, what's coming up.
Yeah, so the next thing that will be being released is the film Out of Body. We filmed that last year, and we're now submitting it to film festivals. Obviously, global pandemic, we're not quite sure when it's going to get released and which festivals it's going to be at, if they're going to all be virtual festivals or whatnot. But keep your eye peeled for when that comes out. And that is another feature film with me and Kevin as the leads. And we were supposed to start filming a month or two ago a new series for the website Deku, which is Netflix streaming Netflix centered around gay content. And that show is called Marriage of Inconvenience, and I'm going to be co-starring with another friend of mine named David Allen Singletary, who is a very, very funny guy. It's kind of a modern day Odd Couple. And basically the two lead characters end up in witness protection together, newly married, and they are polar opposites, and you can let your imagination blossom with what happens from there. So we've got 6 episodes basically ready to film. We have the cast, the crew. I mean, the shutdown happened essentially a week before we started filming. So lucky it wasn't in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's geared up and ready to go. And it's once we can get back to things, that's on the docket. And in the meantime, I'm working with Matt on turning the novellas that my dad and I wrote, the California comedy novellas, into audiobooks with a bunch of my actor friends, kind of radio show style. So there's some stuff in the works, even from home.
Mm-hmm. That is great. That is great. Okay, now, are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. So we're gonna go. We're gonna go back and forth. Both of you guys are gonna answer the questions. All right. First one, Matt goes first. What did you have for breakfast?
I had cereal and my chai tea.
Jason.
I had coffee and a bagel that I baked this morning.
Okay.
I had that for lunch. So we both had a bagel.
Very, very impressive. Okay, Jason, you start. Who is your favorite guest on Billy on the Street?
Oh, goodness. I think it's probably Deborah Messing. Although, oh, shoot, what's his name? The guy who was on Kimmy Schmidt, the preacher guy.
John Hamm.
John Hamm. I really liked him. But I love it. It's Deborah Messing, you gay.
Matt?
Great one.
I think Deborah Messing or Meg Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, you're first now. Funniest queen from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, Bianca Del Rio, easily.
Jason?
Yeah, it's the same. There's no contest.
It's an objective question.
Yeah.
Okay, Jace, most beautiful queen from Drag Race.
Oh, goodness. There are so many really beautiful queens. It's people are not going to suspect this one, but I would say Latrice Royale. I think as an entire being, she is the most beautiful queen.
All right, Matt.
So Gigi Good's giving me a lot of love this season. So
okay.
We just watched the show yesterday, so she's fresh on my mind. So I'm gonna go with her right now.
Oh, okay. Matt, favorite character on Schitt's Creek?
Oh, Moira, for sure.
Jace?
I think it's Moira, but I do really love Alexis.
Yeah.
I love Daniel.
Oh yeah,
David.
Daniel's
his real name.
I do love Patrick as well. He's such a sweetie.
Although no, you know who I also love. I'm really bad with names today. Apparently.
Great for the lightning round.
The mayor's wife.
Jocelyn. I love her character. Yeah.
Patrick, when he sings the song, "You're Simply the Best." That's it. I can barely even talk about it without getting choked up. Okay. We're up to, I forget. Jason, you're going to go first on this one. Randy Rainbow, favorite Randy Rainbow video?
Goodness. I think it's the How Do You Solve a Problem one.
Okay. Matt?
I think it's the same one. No, I think, same one.
I like Very Stable Genius.
Oh, that's a good
one. No, wait, yeah, it was either the one, yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it was one of those two.
Okay. All right, Matt, Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling?
Gosling.
Jason?
Ryan Reynolds.
I knew you were going to say that.
Jace, Meryl Streep or Dolly Parton?
Meryl Streep.
Matt?
Dolly Parton.
Okay. You both win.
What's the prize?
All right, we are very close to the end of our time, I think. Is that right? I've been trying to keep an eye on the clock. So I wanted to ask one more question about crowdfunding. you know, we're in a very strange world here with the pandemic, but we're also in a very specific world when we're dealing with gay filmmaking, and crowdfunding has been a big part of, you know, My Pet Hippo, and I just wanted you guys to talk about it and tell me what your thoughts are going forward.
Yeah, I mean, crowdfunding has been essential to independent filmmaking because the money, you know, when you're first starting out and building your resume and showing people that you can make the films for the low budget, you rely on the support of the community to get there and to get the projects done. And obviously we're in a rough time and a lot of people are hard up at the moment. And so it's the kind of thing where I'm a huge fan of, you don't need to give money to a crowdfunding campaign to help. You can just share the links. You can tell your friends and family to promote it. And the other thing is that pretty much 100% of that goes to paying actors and crew. You know, a little bit gets taken for the crowdfunding site for their fees and stuff, but the money is all going to pay people and get them employed. So that's kind of where, whenever I see a crowdfunding for a film or something like that, I always look to what they're looking for. And when it's in low budget land, I'm like, oh, that's so that crew member can, you know, pay their rent. So I think that there's still going to be crowdfunding. I think it's going to be harder for independent filmmakers to crowdfund as much right now until things kind of level out. But I do think that there's still a future for it.
Yeah, I think with indie filmmaking, you know, you're looking at every penny with the budget, just to see, you know, what needs to be spent, what can be trimmed without sacrificing the quality and the experience on set and the cast and the amazing cast and crew. So, you know, independent filmmakers are already going in kind of looking at, you know, where can I shave off? And the crowdfunding is just it's so vital, not only to fund the film, but also as a way to connect with possible moviegoers. And, you know, like Jason said, sharing is such a huge thing, even if there's no financial support. Like, honestly, all of these films, all these indie films rely on kind of grassroots style word of mouth. And whether it's word of mouth sharing the Kickstarter or word of mouth sharing the movie, you know, hey, I saw this movie recently, here's how you could find it. All of these things are so helpful. And we love our fans and we love all the help that this community brings in spreading the word.
Yeah, and on that note, you can find Analysis Paralysis for rent or purchase on Amazon, iTunes, and Google Play. Or if you have a Deku subscription, it is currently on Deku, and you can stream it there. And if you can spread the word to your friends and family about the film, you know, that'll help us. We're a pop and pop business. We're a little indie business. So, and we want to keep employing cast and crew for years to come. And we rely on your generous support and word of mouth. Yeah,
and if you stay connected to us on the newsletter or on social media, you know, you'll be the first to know when Out of Body is available, when we start filming Marriage of Inconvenience, when these audiobooks are available, when our next project will be starting production, whatever that next project may be. So, you know, we would love to stay in touch with all of you.
Okay, I think we are pretty much at the end of our time. Do we have anything more we want to say? Is there something more you guys need to finish our
speaking of community and engaging, you know, engage with you know, TCC, and TCC is doing the text to give campaign. So basically you text TCC Pride, that's TCC Pride, to 56651, and then you'll follow the prompts to basically make a donation to the community center to help fund, you know, all the great activities that are going on in the community for now and for years to come.
And it's important more than ever to try, if you have a couple extra bucks to throw to organizations like this, it's important more than ever, because these are the organizations that have gotten us equal rights like marriage equality and are fighting for additional rights like not being fired for being gay, etc. And Pride Month is normally the time of year where they make the most amount of money because of all the Pride events. And since we're all at home, these events aren't happening. So if you can throw them a couple bucks and keep them in business until we can get back out there, it's going to make a huge difference for all our rights down the line.
And we just want to say a huge thank you to TCC for inviting us to play along with the virtual Pride Week. And we hope that you're all having a great time. We hope you enjoyed the movie, and we hope you're staying safe out there.